I was born on Sunday at 1:26 in the morning at St. Vincent's Hospital. It was a thunderstorm, and later on I had read that the Chinese believe that if you were born on a thunderous or a thunderstorm, you have a thunderous life. I was told as a child that I didn't walk until I was 4 and didn't talk until I was 5. And my mother, to this day, says I still had trouble walking at 6. She said I'd fall down all the time. They found out when I was in elementary school that I was deaf in my right ear. My earliest memory was going to school, and my father enrolled me, and he stated on the form that a child does not like to be alone, and I really didn't want to be there. I don't know. It just was a strange world, and it didn't get better in school. It didn't get better in school. When I was court-ordered into the state hospital at age 14 as a juvenile delinquent, that must have been 39 years ago. and I really had no concept at 14 or 15 or 16 or exactly where I was at any given time, because there was no clocks and no time. I never saw too many clocks or calendars, and time just stood still, I guess, because I really didn't know where I was or what I was doing, what time of the day it was. I might have known the seasons, only because it rained and then it snowed and then it got hot out. See, the highway's over there, and I know the seclusion rooms are up there somewhere. I don't know where I'm going now. See, I came in this place in a cop car, so you tell me. I need a sheriff to drive me around for I know where I'm at. You went from admissions, everybody went into admissions, and then from there they were distributed among the buildings. But I think in my second term here, second term like I went to college, my second term, they put me in Mitchell as discipline or something, and those were the really nutty people. I was never out of the building. How would I know what they had here? Okay? You have to get out of the building to know. I was underground. Most people don't know that there are underground tunnels here, and they utilize them. At least they utilize them for me to transfer me from admissions to Mitchell Building. And Mitchell Building was like, you saw some of the craziest people there, really crazy. You'd be sitting at on the couch, and someone would come right up behind you and pull your hair out. And I was maybe 16. I just turned 16. I think that was there. But Mitchell was. There used to be a woman that just rocked in her chair, a black woman that used to sing, "You Are My Sunshine," and that's all she sang. Rosie, I think her name was. She just sang all day, "You Are My Sunshine." They had these huge day rooms, and people walked around and crawled the walls and just walked around and took their drugs and screamed and pulled off their clothes. And if you were really a problem, they'd put you in the seclusion room. Seclusion rooms are not a nice place to be. They're made out of tile of some sort, with a drain in the ground, on the floor, and they took your clothes away from you, and you went to the bathroom on the floor, and they hosed you down just like the monkeys. The people I met here were Cheyenne, and Cheyenne was an alcoholic. I was in with adults at 14, and Cheyenne played Your Cheating Heart, and the last time I saw Cheyenne was down on Parade Street. When I got out, he got out, and he was in his 40s when I knew him, but he died, an alcoholic, and he always had a smile on his face, but I think his only crime was drinking, and I realized that only crime, drinking can kill if you get behind the wheel. And there was Mrs. King, and I think the reason she was here is she was loud and boisterous and played the piano and smoked cigarettes, and I didn't think women back in the 60s did that. So I guess she was crazy. We got into a fight one time. Both of us landed in seclusion. She was in her 40s and I was 14. And so that was funny that we were talking back and forth to each other and apologizing for getting into this situation. And I told her to forget it. We'll get out in a little while. And I don't know what happened to Mrs. King, but she did teach me part of a song. It was called Hello, Dolly. That's all I know about the piano. My grandson can play very well, but she taught me a chord, or maybe, of Hello, Dolly. I know that at one point they hooked me up with a young woman because she just refused to do anything. I guess she was very bright, but she'd given up on life and wouldn't dress herself, and they wanted me to dress her, and I said, I'm not dressing her. I couldn't understand why a kid my age couldn't dress themselves. I says, dress yourself. And but she could play the piano very well. I guess there's a thin line between sanity and insanity. I was sane, they said, when first time I came here. And that was a 90-day stint. And so they sent me to the girls' school, Slayton Farm School for Girls. I was a tiny girl at the time. I gained a lot of weight in institutions due to sitting in little rooms and locked rooms and doing nothing but eating. And if they didn't like me screaming or crying or whatever I did, they'd shoot me up with Thurlzine or whatever they had. Give me Mariril, I don't know. I took a lot of different drugs, so Lord knows what I took. Stelazine, I think. Crockett and Mom Payne, for some reason they liked me real well. Even with whatever outburst I had, they really liked me. Mom Payne would come and play cards after she would put lights out and play 500 rummy with me, just because I'd have something to do. I didn't get out like a lot of the girls did. A lot of girls got to go to the dining room. I didn't do that either. Because of the way the kids were being treated, especially the kids in LM1 and LM2 spent most of their time in rooms, metal rooms. You had a bed, maybe a dresser if you're lucky. If you were really, really good, I could never get there. Then if you were really worse than the metal rooms, they'd put you in the treatment rooms, which there were 2 of them. They were made of corked walls and a wooden bench and a toilet with no water in it. They would flush the toilet every so often, and, probably with water. I don't know how they did it. So I was in either in the treatment room or somebody was in the treatment room. Martha Mulvaney died while I was in LM1. Now, Martha Mulvaney was a Erie girl, and from what I was told from a maintenance man, because I asked him about Martha, and he said she died on my arm, holding my arm on the way to the hospital because she drank disinfectant. I know that when they told me Martha had died, I freaked out, and they put me in the treatment room again. And not only did they put me in the treatment room, they put me in the one that she had just been in, that she had engraved in there, Martha Mulvaney was here. Freaked me out. I think there is something that was kind of on the dark side of propaganda. Is one Easter, I had a pink dress with a black bow. At that time, they took all my clothes away from me because they considered me suicidal. But the night before this picture was taken of me, they rolled my hair. And of course, me, drugged up, don't care what you do to me anymore, I'm just sitting there. And they rolled my hair, and I'm sleeping on these rollers on this hard wooden wooden bench, not a bench like this, but solid. And the next day, they take the curlers out of my hair, fix my hair, put the pink dress on me with the black bow and the white collar, and take a picture of it and send it to my family for Easter. And so, no, I went from there and I spent, I want to say a year, maybe, I don't know. I mean, I'd have to look on my paperwork, it'd be a year and a half, somewhere around there. And then they transported me after they decided I wasn't a good fit. After months and months and not adjusting to that institution, they decided they couldn't help me, so they put me back in the state hospital. And the state hospital didn't think I belonged there either, so they put me back home, right where I started from. And by then I had gone through 2 years of just as messed up or worse. And only this time I was just in lockup in a huge amount of drugs, and either given to me by pill form or shots, and upset my whole life. And then I didn't know how to cope when I got out. Where do you go from here? Wish I did, though. Wish I had. Wouldn't have took me so long to grow up and do the things that I did. Wouldn't have waited until I was 28 to go to college. I could have been, who knows what I could have done if I could have found a way to do things the right way. Andy was put into my custody, and I eventually adopted him in the year 2000.
My life before I lived with Grandma was pretty much, well, I've pretty much gotten to go outside a lot more because that's probably the reason I like to go outside a lot, because when I was with my mom I didn't get to go outside a lot. But with my grandma I got to do a lot of things. I got to go sled riding, play with a cat, which I couldn't do with my mom, and probably healthier than I was with my mom. So my school, I went to Grover Cleveland a couple years ago. I was there from first grade to third grade, about 3 years.
He was doing okay in school, except for some little girl was bugging him, and he took a pencil and he put it in her hand like that.
And then I was transferred to homeschooling, a online school by Grandma. I liked my online school because they had me write stories and like poems and stuff, which I really enjoy doing, and that's how I discovered that I have a way with words and poetry. I write usually poetry about animals, about people saving animals. My latest one was about trees and humans. It's about how we're alike with trees, and yet we cut them down. And in a way, I'm hoping it will save some trees. We are like trees. Trees grow, we grow. Trees live, we live. Trees die, we die. Trees are strong, we are strong. Trees are pretty, we are pretty. And all these things we have in common, but we didn't know it until now. And we still cut our strong, living, and growing brothers and sisters down. Please save our brothers and sisters and don't cut them down and don't kill them. Andy Adam, 5/12/05. How I feel about going to Japan is pretty much, I'm kind of nervous and kind of excited. I'm nervous because I've never flown before, and I'm going to another country. So that's going to be scary. So I'm excited because I'm going to have another opportunity.
She came into her grandson's life, Andrew, at a time where that child needed someone desperately. And the timing of when she came into Andrew's life and how unselfishly she has loved him made all the difference.
We saw some kind of shining glimmer, like from her eyes, as if this was bringing her
enjoyment.
Yeah, a lot of joy, and perhaps if you can ever get back the emotional satisfaction of something like that, we felt that she was perhaps recapturing something of what she lost or was taken from her.
What I want to be when I grow up is a scientist and on the side a mechanic or an engineer, because, well, basically the scientist is just to find cures for diseases, and I want to study DNA, and being a mechanic or an engineer on the side will be fun because I can build cars and sell them, and building is pretty much one of my favorite things to do too.
Red sky in the morning, sailors take warning. Mom got a call far away from the shore. There are no words of wisdom for red afternoons, more violent and restless than the blue.
Kathy's a woman that has a lot of depth, and she's lived a lot of lives in one. And I don't think there's many people walking the face of the earth that she hasn't walked in their shoes somewhat.
The family came with to blame her, but you can't choose what you're given. Red sky.
What would I like people to remember me for would be that was non-judgmental.
There are no words of wisdom for red afternoons, more violent and restless than the blues. It's a cancer, it's a flower, all scarlet like a fever. And if you ever leave here, take me with you. Red sky.
So I guess I'm not ready to give up. I have a little sign somewhere, and I wanted to find it. It says, "You get what you accept. You will get what you accept." And I refuse to accept that I have no more to give.